I got a kid, so I'm doing okay with the car, and I'm
Very good afternoon, Mr. Sharma. Tanvi this side calling from MG Motor India. You have pressed an informative call button for my car. How can I help you today?
Yeah, what I particularly love about it is the front look. It's very, very muscular. It reminds me of a very modern ambassador car. It's got a very wide grille. It's got the DRS, the fog lamps. Yeah, I think what really stands out are the 19-inch wheels. No other car is coming with 19-inch default wheels in this price point. And it comes pre-installed with the footstep. A lot of cars, you have to add this as an accessory. The rear view mirrors are massive. They are heated, so they're not going to fog up in the winters. The other thing that stands out is the third row window. It's pretty sizable. Wide, large windows in all three rows. So visibility is never a challenge wherever you're sitting. Even if the sunroof is completely shut, you don't feel claustrophobic. Roof rails also are usable. Despite the fact that it has a sunroof, so if you want to, put a carrier on and that extra storage, you can do that. I think they could have done a much better job here. Very plain. What they tried to do is have the extra large GLoster badging so it stands out and it's relatable. I think in due time I'm going to end up removing it. Again, the internet inside and the four-wheel drive ADAS is a bit of an overkill in terms of badging. They could have made it a bit subtle, and that's, I think, the consensus. Everybody who talks about it says the same thing. Visibility is not an issue. The good thing is they've not overdone the chrome part. And as I said, the rear guard doesn't come, not a standard. It's something that you have to get added on. The exhausts aren't fake. It's basically a twin exhaust. So if you take the camera under it, you'll see that it's basically a single exhaust on both ends. And this is just, the chrome part is just for show. I think that's about it. Overall, looks very muscular to me. It's roomy, it's big, and that's what I really love about it. You can't really do it comfortably unless you use the footstep. It is definitely a taller than usual car, especially if you have somebody in your family who is elderly. They are going to have a little bit of a struggle getting into it, even with the footstep. So I think, I'm fairly okay. So it's basically comfortable for me. But unless you have a footstep, it's going to get very difficult to get in and get out. The minute we sat in it, the seat comfort and the overall look and feel is what really had me going. I think the front seat comfort is where it excels. 3 memory setting for the seat. But because for any long journey, because I don't want to have my hands outstretched, I kind of use this position to drive so that the steering is basically within reach. This is a 9-way adjustable seat, if I'm right. It's got height. It's got, obviously, you can move it front and back. There's no under thigh support adjustment, unfortunately, but it does have lumbar support which you can adjust. The driver's seat surprisingly even has a massager, which is not really a massager, but it's the lumbar support part going up and down. But it's not gimmicky. I thought it's going to be gimmicky, but on a couple of long drives, I did turn it on, and it gave me some relief from the stress or the lack of it. But yeah, very, very comfortable. But there is a problem. If you are too short, you may not reach the headrests. Yeah, so again, as I said, the front seats is where it really excels in terms of comfort. This is the most comfortable place to be in the entire car. The seats are cushiony, but they are not too soft. The cushioning is very, very firm. If you're going on long drives, you don't really kind of feel any issues in terms of your lower back, upper back, so that's been very comfortable. You feel kind of very contained because of the side bolstering. The passenger seat does lack a few options because surprisingly, the driver's seat has both heating and ventilation and a massager. The passenger seat only has heating, and there is no height adjustment here. So I don't know why they skimmed on that part. They should have at least had height adjustment. But other than that, it is still, I think, 6-way adjustable, and it's got heating for the winters if you ever end up using that. Again, no under thigh support adjustment. Not that under thigh support is bad, but since they were kind of adding so much, they could have done that, I feel. Wherever you touch, there's soft touch material. There's barely any hard plastic. This button isn't very solid. It is clicky enough. It is tactile enough. But this little bit of flimsy, especially when you look at the price point you're buying the car at. This leather feels very good. I am a little worried about how it's going to age over 3 or 4 years. Don't really have any experience being in these seats, barring just sitting on them for a couple of minutes. But from whatever I hear, also very comfortable. You will feel, and I'm being a little picky here, you will feel the lack of thigh support here, especially if you're over 5'11" or you're over 6 feet tall. The armrests are adjustable, so that's a good nifty feature. The headrests are actually 3-way adjustable. Of course, you have the up and down. You can move them front and back. And you can also kind of, like in the airlines, you can squeeze this and kind of lock your head in place in case you are trying to get a quick nap. Other than that, they aren't powered, of course. They are manual. The captain seats kind of give you an option to go to the third row easily. They will not tumble in case you want to, if you want access to the third row. Either you go in through the middle or you pull them all the way front and then make your way there. So again, if you have somebody who's got mobility issues or who's elderly, they are going to have an issue going to the third row for sure. Couple of storage options here. You want to put a phone or something, and then there's a cup holder that pops out. You can come with trays like the Alcazar does. You have a 12-volt power socket and you have a USB slot here.
What is this internet inside all about?
It's a connected car. It comes with a 3-year prepaid internet package. Post 3 years, I think I'll have to pay something to renew it. I think Ecardlr is the service provider. You can access some car features from the MG app. Turn the heating or the cooling on. You can open the windows, the sunroof. You can do a very, very basic rudimentary diagnostic, not really diagnostic, but it'll just tell you that the tire pressure is normal, the windows are rolled up, the doors are locked, the sunroof is off, and the car is shut. As long as your car is in a network area, and the catch is a lot of us have parking in the basements where there's no network. So that feature is pretty much useless. It can come in handy is in case your car is on the move, you don't know about it. You can set a perimeter. You can geolock it within a certain area. If you are loaning your car to somebody, you want to set a speed alert, you get your alerts on the phone saying that, okay, it's gone above a particular limit. So those are handy features. Then you have, some built-in apps, the Android-based UI entertainment center. You have the Ghana app pre-built. You have navigation, which is again very basic. And you have Shortpedia, which is like a, wiki service, which I've not really used. I don't think I'm going to end up using it. But I think that's what they mean by internet inside. One thing which is really good, there is a star button here on the steering. They have a call center. I hope it works now because we're on camera. So you press it and then you get this message that somebody from MG will get back to you. So if you're in trouble, if you're on the road, rather than finding an RSA number, or if there's some basic feature you need help with, you just press the button and they call you. Hello.
Very good afternoon, Mr. Sharma. Tanvi this side calling from MG Motor India. You have pressed an informative call button for my car. How can I help you today?
Yeah, I did. I think I pressed it accidentally, but thank you so much for calling. This is I would say, above average infotainment center. The one area where they could have worked on is the touch responsiveness. It's not bad, but again, it could have been better. So you have to, sometimes it takes a while to, really register the press. If you do want to access the 360 camera, maybe that's the only other thing you'll kind of find yourself going to. Other than that, if you really ask me, I have not used it, barring the first day when I was tweaking with some of the settings, which are the vehicle settings. Things like your rear view mirrors automatically retracting, the follow me home turn on and off, the ambient light setting. Yeah, so I've never really had to use the touch. But yeah, when you at this price point, you expect a little better touch. That's definitely, I won't say a letdown, but again, those minor things that they've missed here and there, those will keep popping up. For a car this price point, this comes with a stock basic audio system. It's got a subwoofer, it's got I think 8 or 9 speakers. So it's not bad by any stretch of imagination. But when you're spending this much, especially considering that today cars with 15 lakhs come with a Bose system or a JBL system. And even if you look at the Hector, that comes with a branded sound system. I'm forgetting which one it is. But it's a pretty good one. It sounds much better than this. So that is disappointing, and I'm surprised how they missed it. Because a lot of people go for aftermarket speakers and do the whole rewiring and everything. For a car this price point, you can't just give a stock sound system. And I have no issues with the infotainment system. It is the sound quality. It is loud enough. It is thumpy enough. It is not clear enough. The bass is also punchy. It's not bad. Definitely could have been better. The clarity could have been better. The channel separation is also okay, and there are no options to kind of tweak the channel separation. Very basic.
Safety features of this car.
It's got a lot of advanced safety features. It's got 6 airbags. I think the global NCAP rating was 5 for the Australia variant. I'm assuming they've not really changed too much in terms of the metal quality or the overall structure, so they should hold up well. Yeah, it doesn't have the driver leg airbag. The sheer size of it gives you that confidence. The doors have a lovely thud. The boot has a lovely thud. The bonnet has a lovely thud. The bonnet comes with the pneumatic struts, so you don't have to manually hold it in place. And it's very heavy. People who are in the middle row, 9 out of 10 times they can't shut the door in one go. It stays unlocked. Right?
I've done that twice, yes.
It's very heavy, right? And the one thing I was very worried about when I was getting this car, people saying it's Chinese, it's cheap, it's light. You can feel it, it's not. It is solid, it is well built, almost as good as Endeavour, I would say. It says full LED tech here. I don't know what that means. It's actually one of the only Chinese things about this car. And the throw isn't great. It's above average. You look at a Fortuner, you can see it from a mile away. It's got one of the best throws by default. This has an okay throw.
When you're talking about throw, you're talking about the light throw.
The light throw.
So the visibility is an issue, you're saying?
It's not an issue. It's okay. You would expect from a 40 lakh car that they've spent a lot of time in that area. ADAS is one. ADAS is basically short for Advanced Driver Assistance System. So basically it is adaptive cruise control. That's one of the key features. As long as you're over 30, you can put the car in cruise control mode and you can set a speed and a distance from the front car that you want the car to maintain. And it works very well on highways. Let's say you set speed of about 50. If the car before you kind of slows down, this car also will slow down accordingly. And then as and when that car picks up, your car picks up the pace. So it will keep slowing down, it will keep picking up the pace. And there are 3 levels of distance that you can choose. If you want to be very close to the car, if it is packed traffic you are moving in, you can actually choose to be closer to the car. So the braking will not keep coming in frequently. In terms of how well it works, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Definitely could do better. The one area it needs to do better in is the braking. Especially when there are people in the car and I'm on cruise control. The braking is very sudden. If the driver, you will manually kind of progressively brake, but ADAS kind of kicks in suddenly, which is why I don't really use it when there are too many people in the car. But especially when I'm doing up and down, I'm very comfortable because my right foot doesn't really come into play. The only thing I have to manage is the steering. That's really a pleasure to have as a feature in the car. The other one is automatic braking assist. So what that does is that slows your car down by about 40 kilometers. So you can set it on and off from the menu. So if you forget to brake and there's an obstacle, if you are at 40 and below, the car will completely come to a stop. But if you are over the speed of 40, it will reduce the car speed by 40 kilometers per hour. So at least the severity of the impact is going to be reduced.
Suppose let's say you are at 100.
Yeah.
The automatic will bring it down to 40 or will it bring it down to 60?
It will bring it down to 60. Yeah. So at least it will still not be good, but you will at least hit whatever you are hitting, God forbid, at 60 kilometers per hour instead of hitting it at 100 kilometers per hour. So far it's not kicked in erroneously, and I'm hoping I don't have to ever use it. Then you have the blind spot monitor. Little LEDs on both the outside mirrors. So anytime there's a blind spot, is somebody trying to overtake you, you'll see the bright orange LED lighting up. Very, very active, at least keeps me vigilant and keeps me informed. Lane departure warning. So it's just a warning. So what this does is, as long as there are clear or even semi-clear markings on the road, it'll basically, the cameras will pick up those markings. And anytime you try to do a lane change without using the indicator, the MID will prompt and it will give you a yellow kind of a warning saying that you are changing your lane. No force feedback in the steering. This was one of the things I did not know about till I bought the car. It's only after I bought the car I realized that it doesn't have lane keep assist.
Give me a rating on comfort and why.
I would honestly, and not because I have bought it, I would rate it 5 out of 5 because there's not been one day when I've gone for and again, my definition of a long drive is about 80 kilometers plus. Typically I go from Gurgaon to Noida and come back. That's about a 90-95 kilometer journey. I have never ever felt tired because of the drive. And in my old car, I would be exhausted by the time I reached home. That's the reason I would rate it 5 out of 5. So far, no complaints on comfort at all.
Comfort from a suspension perspective?
About 7.5 out of 10. Again,
that's a dramatic drop.
That's a dramatic drop because from whatever I hear of people who are sitting in the third row, they feel a little bit of roll, and that's also because it's a tall SUV and you'll always have roll there. Front row, it's absolutely comfortable. You don't feel the bumps, you don't feel the depressions in the road. Even ugly speed breakers are very easy to cross over. Suspension is very soft, way better than Endeavour and Fortuner.
Interiors and
outside, I would rate it a 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. And if I talk about the interiors, I would rate it a 9 out of 10.
Where is that 1 point gone?
The little bit of improvements they would have done here. The glove box, barely any space, right? I actually had to buy a separate pouch so that the car papers would fit. It's that small. And they missed the trick with having storage up here, which most cars this size do have. It's not a cool glove box.
Driving pleasure.
I would again rate it 10 out of 10. Maybe 9 out of 10, I would take 1 mark for the braking because that doesn't give me the amount of confidence it should, though I'm used to it now. But I would give it a 9 out of 10 because of the 1 mark for the braking for sure.
On safety, perceived.
Again, I would give it a 9 out of 10 because it's got what you would, it's checking all the boxes. If somebody told me that what are the things which you would want in a car to feel safe, it's got all of it. It's got ADAS, it's got automatic braking, it's got the blind spot monitor, it's got it doesn't have the lane keep assist, but I'm kind of, after looking at the reviews, I'm glad it doesn't have it because I would have never used that feature anyway. But it's got that lane departure warning. I can reach MG at the touch of a button. Here I know that MG will call me back. At least so far it's worked. And so all in all, I would again give it a 8.5, 9 out of 10 in terms of perceived safety.
Plushness inside.
Superb, I would say 10 out of 10. I know maybe 9 out of 10 because there are those tiny, clicky, not so rich feeling buttons I would maybe deduct half a point on. But other than that, 9.5 out of 10.
Overall ranking, everything put together.
Everything put together, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Maybe a 9 out of 10 because honestly, it's a pleasure for me to drive this car. So I got this car about 3 months back. Switched from a sub 4 meter sedan to a full size 7-seater SUV. Buying experience was okay. Servicing experience so far has been very good. I have thoroughly enjoyed the last 3 months of driving this car. I've done about 3,000 kilometers on it. For somebody who doesn't drive, that's a lot of mileage on the car. Love how the interiors are. Love how comfortable it is. Love how easy it is to drive. Where I've deducted marks would be braking, the sound system or the quality of the sound system, and minor areas where they've kind of skimmed, kind of just going the extra mile and making it great. Right? For example, we spoke about the little bit of buttons which feel a little cheap, the small glove box, the non-cooled storage which is under the armrest. But other than that, very roomy car. I think one of the very few cars which has a usable third row where an adult over 5'10", 5'11" can comfortably sit and not complain and feel claustrophobic. If you like this review, if this was helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you think there's any feature which I've not spoken about, or which I've any inaccurate description, please leave a comment down below. I'll definitely be referring to the comments to see what more I can learn about this car. But it's been great. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for giving your time. Thank you so much.